It's the Battle of the Titans here today in the Quarantine Shop Kitchen. One champion returns to prove that they still have what it takes here in our special All-Stars episode. With us again, we have Susan.
Since the last time I won here on Chopped, I've been experimenting with a lot more of my cooking style and cooking flavors. I've had many debates with Eric about who's the better chef in the kitchen. Today is my day to prove that I'm the better one. I have what it takes to be the All-Stars Quarantine Chop Champion.
Will she prove that her crown was rightfully earned? Or will this be her fall from grace? Chefs? As before, you'll have 4 mystery ingredients to work with, and you must include each of them. You will also have unlimited access to the Chopped Pantry, along with all of our equipment. Your ingredients include flank steak, corn tortilla chips, red chard, and muscat grapes.
He was really mean to me this round.
Your time begins now.
So as soon as I see the tortilla chips, my mind goes straight to Mexican cuisine. I know I can incorporate the tortilla chips with the beef to make some type of nacho or taco.
Looks like she's tasting the muscat grapes. Now those are used in wine, raisins, or they can just be eaten as table grapes. They do have a characteristic floral, grapey musk. They're definitely a lot more pungent than your normal grape. Looks like she's also starting to work with the flank steak. Now, that's it's sort of a humble steak. It's a lean cut, but it's also a good all-purpose cut, which is pretty good for the Chopped Kitchen. You can grill it, you can marinate it, you can fry it, but it can be pretty dry and tough if you don't cut it very thin and if you don't let it rest properly.
I knew I should probably cook the beef, just in case I ran out of time. So that's the first thing that I start tackling.
Yeah, it looks like she just turned on the cast iron. She's getting it up pretty high. She's also chopping up the flank steak. Could she be doing some sort of stir fry?
So he kept on thinking I was gonna go in the Asian direction, which shame on him. I am the most comfortable with Asian cooking, but I did want to branch out and try other types of cuisine, both increase my creativity and to increase my horizons as a chef. And what better place to start expanding my horizons than the All-Star Chopped round?
What are you thinking about that chard? The red chard, it's actually just a type of Swiss chard. Like any dark green leafy vegetable, it's gonna be very bitter. It's gonna be very nutritious though. If you can cook it, you can saute it. If you do, that takes a lot of the bitterness. Otherwise, you can just eat it raw. You can even eat it as like you would a bib lettuce to wrap your meal in, eat it that way. I see you're pulling out package after package of cheese, which I'm personally excited for. She's also picked out some of the cilantro, so I would assume going in some sort of East Asian direction.
I really don't see how cilantro would make him think East Asian. Yeah, no, definitely not. So I knew we had taco seasoning in the Chopped Pantry, so that's why I grabbed that.
Oh, I see what she's doing. We're having tacos.
No, I was actually making nachos. I remember seeing this recipe on Tasty. There was a cast iron nachos. You put everything in the cast iron and just throw it all in the oven.
That does help incorporate the tortilla chips a little easier. Now these are restaurant-style corn tortilla chips. They're a little thicker, a little heartier. There's just a lot more substance in there. It's not that smooth, processed, thin chip that you might be used to. I think it's going to provide a really good crunch no matter where she puts it.
As I was cooking the beef in the cast iron, I realized I should have seasoned it first and maybe let it get up to room temperature before throwing it in. And I don't think I got my pan hot enough, and then I started really getting nervous.
Now I see she used some of the taco seasoning packet. What's all in there? Taco seasoning packet, it's usually just all your traditional taco spices. It's gonna have chili powder, cumin, salt, paprika, all your basic taco ingredients, all right conveniently there. Is it in the best proportions? I think that's up for debate.
All that liquid and all that fat, I just had to drain it out. That was not what I had intended to do.
How do you imagine she's going to be using those Muscat grapes? That's definitely the hardest one of the basket. Like with any grape, it's going to be very sweet. It's going to be tricky to use.
At this point, I still don't know what to do with the grapes or the chard. So I'm just getting my nachos ready and hoping something inspiring will come to me.
Oh, we are not getting tacos after all. Those are nachos.
I realized that we did not have any tomatoes in the chop pantry. And that's when it came to me that I need something fresh to brighten it up.
Looks like she's got the nachos finishing in the oven. She's washing some cilantro now. Still haven't seen her touch the red chard or the Muscat grapes. I mean, neither of them are gonna take long to cook, if you're gonna cook them at all, but we do like to see them transformed. I see sour cream going into that blender, and I see an avocado in there as well. So you know what that means. She's making us a crema, and that's going to be great. That's going to provide a lot of fat. I think that's really going to help tie that dish together. And it really just, I think any sauce really just takes it to a whole nother level, and this chef knows that.
I know this judge is a very big fan of sauces, so that's why I knew that I had to make the sauce perfect.
Chefs, half your time is expired. Half is left, obviously.
After I first tasted the crema, it was a little bit too sour. I think I put too much lime juice in it, and that's when I was going to grab the grapes to add the little sweetness and to kind of take some of that sourness out. I did not taste the grapes prior to using it.
She's thrown in those Muscat grapes, and that's going to provide sweetness, a lot of depth of flavor, I think, into her crema.
But when I first tasted it, I thought it was okay, but then as it kind of lingered on my tongue, it just became too sweet. But I didn't really have time to do anything at that exact moment, so I just decided to let it sit for a little bit.
10 minutes, chef. 10 minutes.
So my nachos are done and looking great, and that's when I decided it's about time to start cooking the chard.
She's got olive oil in that skillet. She's got, looks like a stick of butter there as well. She's definitely gonna try and cook out the bitterness from that chard, which I think is smart, but how exactly she's gonna incorporate that into nachos, time will tell.
I thought it would be a little weird to put chard on top of tacos, but hey, it's chopped. You know, I feel like that's really going to be transforming the ingredient and really bringing the whole dish together as a cohesive dish. I squeezed some lime juice onto the chard to try to give it some acidity and flavor, but then it kind of just brought out the bitterness more.
Just like last time, 6 minutes to go, and Chef Susan seems to be wrapping everything together. She's got her crema made, she's got all of her ingredients in the pan, looks like her nachos are done. Is she gonna spend the next 5 minutes just staring at the wall like last time? We'll see.
I didn't realize how much time I actually had. I guess in my head, time runs faster than in real life.
Remember to make every second count, chefs.
With all this time, I decided to cut up some more chard and to actually cook it properly with some sugar and some oil.
What do you think about the red chard? It's not my favorite. It appears Chef Susan's thrown some more Swiss chard out on the pan. What could she be doing? Looks like she's thrown a little bit of that organic sugar on. Sugar, salt, acid, all that's just gonna make it a little bit more palatable.
What I didn't account for, everything looks beautiful in the cast iron, but then I realized I had to plate it, so I was really trying to be careful and delicate with not breaking all the chips.
I'm glad to see she's putting a healthier portion on there because this is the entree round, and those are nachos. That's not traditionally considered to be a dinner item. I think she's counterbalancing that idea with quantity.
I did not want to give something boring, and I felt like nachos were nacho average entree.
Do you actually want me to add that?
No. If the judge wants to talk about it.
Okay, I'm cutting you off. Less than 1 minute remains, chef.
So ideally, I would have liked to plate the sauce separate from the actual nachos so they don't get all soggy, but I remembered that this chef likes everything to have been done for him.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands up.
I feel like I could have done better, but with the constraints and the ingredients that I was given, I think this was all I had. That was a tough basket, mostly because I've never cooked the chard before, and I've never really dealt with grapes in a savory dish. But I feel like my flavors are there, and I feel like I transformed the ingredients, and I'm really proud of my dish. I definitely think I have won this competition.
Chefs, today you have made for us a meal that includes muscat grapes, corn tortilla chips, flank steak, and red chard. Let's see what you made for us.
So today, in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, quarantine edition, I've decided to make a take on homemade carne asada nachos. So I have lightly seasoned the beef with some taco seasoning, and I made a fresh avocado, lime, cilantro crema with a wilted Swiss chard salad slaw to provide a little bit of freshness.
Your presentation's spectacular. This looks truly beautiful. What made you go in this direction? What made you choose nachos?
Well, when I saw the tortilla chips, I definitely thought Mexican direction. So I remember watching a tasty video on Facebook about cast iron nachos, so I decided to try that out.
And I saw you prepared the Swiss chard 2 ways.
I actually just prepared the Swiss chard 1 way, technically. I just didn't think I had time to run to get the sugar because I really wanted to add the sugar to the Swiss chard to counterbalance the bitterness of it. And I feel like I accidentally added a little bit of too much lime juice. So that's why I just went and grabbed some more.
I do think you did a good job with the chard because it's bitter, but I don't taste that punch in the mouth bitter that you would normally go with raw chard. I saw you put lime juice in there. I saw you put sugar. I saw you cook it in olive oil and butter. I saw you scrambling all around for them. But not a lot of that flavor comes through. It's mostly just the bitter vegetable, which I'm surprised. It does have a little bit of acid, which I think it needs. I'm just surprised more of those flavors that I saw you putting in there didn't come through. Now I'll tell you what I do like. I do like the idea. I like your concept. I think the beef's tender. You did manage to get a pretty tough cut of steak. It's pretty easy to chew. I do like the cheese on the nacho. Everyone, of course, loves cheesy nachos. That part I am on board with. In the crema, I do think this avocado crema that you've put on there is a welcome addition. But what I struggle with, did you taste the crema at all?
It's a little sweet.
It's very sweet.
I was not happy with that crema. I should have just been way more conservative with the grapes.
Grapes are obviously a difficult ingredient, especially muscat grapes. It's a very hard flavor to mask. But if you're committed to this direction, you need to balance that sweetness out. I want to see some more acid. I want to see some more salt. I want to see some sort of heat. Give me a little bit of jalapeno. Something to balance. It's all about balance in a dish, and you've got that as far as textures. I do not get bored with the textures. There's a chewy piece of beef there. There's the crispy nachos, which even with all this crema, you've managed to keep crisp, and I love that about this dish. But the flavor of the sweetness, I notice myself eating around it rather than, going back to dunk it in as I should be.
Yeah, that's why at the end I wanted to add more lime juice, but then just kind of ran out of time to make it less sweet. I shouldn't have added so many grapes.
And that's understandable. There is a rush here. We do not give you much time. Rising to that challenge is what you're here for.
I do appreciate the judge's smugness in delivering all this feedback.
With all that said, you did manage to incorporate all the ingredients. You've created a cohesive dish. Whether or not it qualifies as an entree, I think that depends on your age. Nonetheless, this is a hearty meal. It is good. The flavors are good. Everything that you have, I want there. You've really made each of these ingredients shine through clearly, and I love that about your dish. I love your presentation. I think all of that worked really well. My only real note is that it needed something else to stand up against that sweetness of the grapes. I need some other flavor to stand up to it. Tell me why you want to win here today.
I want to win mostly just for kicks and shiggles. I have a bunch of fans rooting for me back at home.
Dun, 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 dun. No one's chopped. You won.